Welcome back to my channel. I'm Adeline with Adejuan's Art Dolls. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. I appreciate all of you guys. In this video, I guess this video is a little bit behind the times. It should have been probably near the first video that I made, but I didn't want to get too far off and not be able to show you the things that I use when I am reborning. I used a slew of different brushes, but then I bought paint brushes at first, but then found out that they are not exactly what I needed. What you really need to do is buy makeup and nail brushes. They're going to get you further than the uh, paint brushes. Although you will need some paint brushes, but not all, okay? So on this table is a lot of stuff. I'm just going to go through some of the products that I use, some of the brushes I use, and what I use them for. And right here, I'm just going to start right here. These colored pencils I use for mapping my head when I'm getting ready to root. These pencils, like these colored pencils, they can also be used to paint hair. Draw hair on the doll. Of course, that's okay, but I'm not really into that. I like rooted hair better. And this is just a white marker. It's a white chalk marker that I mark on my head, and it's water soluble so that I can just wipe it off with water. I have 4 different kind of little tips that I use. Let me take the tip plastic off of this one so that you can see that one. I use these for different things like taking the paint out of creases and crevices, getting off little dots, hair, um, just anything. I mean, these are so tiny. See, they're so tiny, and these are a little bigger, but I use them all. It just depends on what I'm going after. If I'm trying to get something out of a crease, I might use this. This is kind of a hard one. This is kind of a hard one. And these two are softer. So it just depends on what I need them for, actually. I'm going to stick everything back where it belongs when I get done so that it won't be on the table when I get done. You will need sponges, wedge sponges. You will need wedge sponges. And if you want to make your own what is this, modeling blenders, this is a modeling blender. Also, this is a modeling blender. Then I made this one with this wedge sponge here. Let's see, I made that one. And on one of my videos, I think with the modeling, I show you how to make this one using this sponge right here. This sponge right here is kind of more denser than this one. Is kind of more spongy. This one is kind of thick. You can feel them, but it's all in where you buy your sponges. This is a Swisher, and I get it off of Amazon. This I'm not sure where I got it. It probably came from the dollar store. Um, because, like I said, I buy my supplies where I can afford to buy them. These beauty blenders right here, they came in a pack of 4, just like this, cut off smoothly like that. I plucked those holes in them so that I could have one for modeling and also one for washes. The washes, the holes are much closer than the ones that are for Let me take it out so that you can actually see it. See, this is for modeling. These are for modeling. You see the holes are much bigger than the ones that I do for washes, because you can actually put color on with this one, and doing a wash to put the layer clean. It just gives your skin a little bit more depth. Okay, more brushes. When I find a brush that does what I want it to do, I label my brushes. This one is for a brown crease because I have powder. Let me show you. I have powders that I also use for creasing, um, and undertones. Sorry about that. Undertones. These are my pan pals that I use for undertones. Of course, I can use some. This is just a high pigmented eyeshadow. I get it, and all of this actually came from Amazon. Here's the brown that I use. And sometimes when the skin is going to be lighter, I use plum. I do have a stretchable eraser. This kind of eraser is a soft eraser, but the it will erase the powders. If you try to wipe the powders with your hand, it's not going to work. But you see, this eraser will it's expandable. See, and I get it from Amazon as well. I'll show you what the package look like so that you can see what that package is. That's what the package is going to look like. It's this size, and I haven't dented. That's all that I've used off of that. And you can use that little piece for a long time. And I do my undertones and my creases with these powders. Sometimes if I need some more color like yellow or green, I just get out my eyeshadow, just my eyeshadows that are very highly pigmented. I don't use anything with silvers or glitter in it. I just use the matte colors, because and that's all you really need. Because when you come to putting yellow on, you don't need to do a big thing of a yellow. Just go get you a highly pigmented eyeshadow and just put that on. You're not going to use very much right up under the eyes, across the cheeks, and across the top of the nose. You're just not going to use that much. And sometimes I do my blushing with my cheeks, and also um, what else? I do the cheeks, and I do the sometimes I put it on my nose and my chin. Sometimes I do my fingers inside my hands, um, with the pink powder in that eyeshadow kit. But these are brushes that are really fine that I do. But when I find one I like, and this one is a brown crease, and this one is the plum crease. Let's do it that way. And this one just says creases because I found it later on to have. Now I might trim off this end here to make it just a little bit thinner, but then it has a pouncer here, and I can use that pouncing part to pounce out the excess powder on there. And this is just a um, this is what I use for glossing the nails because it's so little, and the nails are too. You need an X-Acto knife. An X-Acto knife opens up the eyes. You need to open up the back of the eyes. Now, some people go through the front, but you have to use a lamp. Oh, what do they call those lamps? A salt lamp. You have to use that to put inside the head to light up the head so it can soften the vinyl. And then you can go through the front without cutting open the back. Me, I'm not going to trust that too much because I don't want to tear my eye and the corners. So I use a X-Acto knife and I open up the back of it so that I can get my eyes in and out. A mop brush. A mop brush I use for um, pouncing, pouncing off the paint in creased areas, the nose, the mouth, the ears, um, the eyes. If well, even if the eyes are closed, excuse me. This pencil here is a blue pencil. I use it for doing my veins. I don't, and you don't have to press very hard. It's a soft pastel pencil, and you can just buy it. I bought it on Amazon, but I bought it in a kit with other colors, and I only needed this color, but I couldn't find it by itself, so I just went ahead and bought it in a kit. So it's okay. Um, it was inexpensive, under $10, I think, for all the colors. I think I got like 12 colors, 12 or 15 colors, or something like that. But and I can use them for other things. Like you can always use them if you're a coloring book artist and you like to color in coloring books. You can use them for that as well. Um, but this is a kind of a game changer as far as me putting veins on, because they go on so nicely, and then you can just pounce out the overcast of the vein. And when you start to put paint on the head or arms or whatever, it looks like it's under the skin as well. More brushes, more brushes. These brushes come out of, um, and because I had brushes for dry and I had brushes for wet. So these are, and I label, see, I label my brushes so I'll know what I use them for. But just brushes. I buy brushes all the time. I You never have too many brushes. Um, you're always going to need this flat brush. This flat brush is for mixing paints. Sometimes applying paints to a big area on your baby, but I use it for applying paints, but I also use it for mixing my paints as well. And this is just a crease dabber that I use for my creases because it has a little point on the end of it. So I just, let's see, there you go. So I just use it for, um, and you can buy these in a pack, probably 15, 10 or 15 in a pack. Very cheap on Amazon. Okay, the next, I do have colors. Now, I didn't put all of my colors down here that I use, but these are my golden paints. And these are three different colors: blue, red, and yellow. And blue, red, and yellow can get you to any color you want on your baby. Some people only prefer to use three different colors these three different colors, but they will use different colors of red and different colors of blue and different colors of yellow to get different colors on their babies. But the process is still the same. Okay. Water. When using water, always use distilled water because it doesn't have all the gook in it that it does that your hydrant water has in it. But this is what I use to mix my paints with. I put it in this bottle because I can drop it or I can squirt it either way in this bottle. I also use this wetting um, agent. It helps with making your paint go on um, better. Kind of these three things right here is what I use to make my paint go on um, like oil paint. It keeps my paints liquid, glazing liquid in my water. No, not in my water. I'm sorry, but and my water, and I put the wetting agent in it. When I put the wetting agent in it, I'm only putting that much wetting agent, just very little, probably a fourth of an inch of high, and then I fill it up with water. And this is what I put in and mixed up all of my paints with. These three things. Now, when it comes to this, you do not have to use a lot of this either. I usually, if I put 3 drops of paint, then I may use, and if I'm using drops, I don't use drops a lot because I mix my paints. I will show you that process again too. It's in another video, but I would put it in this video as well. But I use um but I usually if it's a drop, I'll put a drop. If it's 2 drops, I'll put 2 drops. Because you're not trying to put as much as it would be if it had water in it. You're just only trying to put as much as the paint you use. This open thinner, this is just a thinner to thin out paint to keep you, it's a slow drying thinner, and it just keeps you from using a lot of water into your paints. A lot of people don't set their water up like I do. I very seldom use this. This is practically new. I have not used it very much because, like I said, the process that I use works for me. But just in case I need some thinner, then I will use that. Also, I will use this medium, this acrylic flow medium, and that's just to keep, like I said, not to use a lot of water. This liquid, this ultra matte gel, I'm sorry, it wasn't liquid, it's ultra matte gel. It's about empty. I have another jar, but this one is about empty. Okay, this is what I use to make my primer, um, that I prime my kits with, and I mix it up. I mix it up in this little container. I put a brush, probably a little glob on a brush, put it in here, add my water because I want it to be kind of thick, not real thick, but kind of thick like that. It's runny, but I just keep it going in this little jar. Just keep it going. But that's what I use this liquid text for. And this is a varnish that I've not used at all. I don't think, let me see if I took the plastic of the paper off the top of it. Yes, I have. I've taken the paper off the top of it. This is the first time I've opened it, and I guess since I did that, I've not used this at all um, to varnish my kits after, but I am going to start using it just to see how it does. Mostly my varnish has been, I'll show you, because I'm also going to start to seal my paint. Like when I get done painting everything, I'm going to seal it with this, but I'm not going to use it straight either. I'm going to use it, put a little water in it to make it, it'll be a little thinner because it is just too thick. Now, if you want it to, if you use it thick, you can, and you can. You want to use it thick to texturize the skin and make it have, be a little bumpy instead of being flesh, to the surface, flat to the surface. This is what I use for my matte varnish. This is the very last thing that I put on. Well, no, it isn't. Let's see. This is the what I varnish my kit with, which will hold that paint. This is kind of waterproof. It'll hold that paint on and keep it secure. But I also, when it comes to blushing, I had bought another kit. I had bought waterborne paints, air dry paints before, and they came in these little bitty bottles. Um, and it's only certain paints that I use of it. But I use this gloss to gloss the nails. And you have to do this. This should be the very last thing that you do. You gloss your lips, your nails. Some people gloss in their ears, some people gloss in their nose. I don't do the nose or the ears because I don't see people's ears shiny, and I don't see people's nose shiny unless it's running. And I don't want to think about my baby's nose being running. I do, if the eyes are closed, run a line across that. But see, you're going to put hair in that area as well. So you're not going to really see that gloss that much. And I got this as a tip from a young lady that I follow. And this is Eileen's Okay to Wash It fabric glue. When you get done gluing, rooting your hair, you're going to need a glue. And some people use Gym Tex. Oh, they use Mod Podge. Yeah, Mod. Yeah, Mod Podge. They use oh, let me see what else they use. They use Aleen's. It's another glue by Aleen's that they use. I like this because it's washable, and some people want to wash their baby's hair. This is good because then it don't come up, it don't lift or whatever. I have been told, and with one of my babies, I did do the Liquitex, but I'm not. And the Liquitex is good for um, sealing the hair and also the eyebrows and um, sealing your magnet in the mouth. And it doesn't dry tacky. It dries with a matte feel. And those, when it comes to drying the eyes and drying the nose, the magnet in, I usually take and a felt circle with an adhesive back and put over top of that, just so that when I go to put my cotton and all this, well, it's just cotton and glass beads in in a trouser sock in my head, that I don't move that around, or I'm going to put some over the eyes to make sure that the eyes are staying intact. But yeah, that's what I use for the hair. So if there's any questions about anything that you feel you want to use or should use, oh, then please leave it in the comments. And this is what I wanted to show too. These is just up to 5. And I started 2, but you start from the highest number, which they started 8. And this is a Genesis thing where I started 8, and it's the lightest, very, very light. I don't use 8. I use 7, because, like I said, 7. Um, I'm not trying to go as light as they're doing theirs. I want to be mine being small, a little bit with a color. Um, so I start at 7, and then I come all the way down to 2. I even make a darker one. I've put it up already. It is a burnt umber or raw umber, whichever one it is, but it's a little bit darker than that one. But when you see me mixing up my paints out of these jars, you see that I use a little, and then I add my satin glazing liquid, and then I add my water wetting with my wetting agent in it, and it turns out a little lighter than these colors here. But these are the colors that I'm using. Right now I've used 5. I've painted my babies with 5. The next time that I put some paint in my bowl, it'll be this color, number 4. And you'll start to see the paint build up on the baby with these colors. Then you go down, and I use 3 layers of each color that I start off with. Each color I put it on, and I do 3 layers if I've made enough paint. And most time I've made too much, but that's what I normally do. When it comes to modeling, I will I bought a tutorial. It had some colors in it that were Genesis colors, but I took those colors from my colors that were close to my colors and made my own wash. I mean, modeling paint. And so these are my colors that I use. This one is a little bit, this one is a little redder than this one is a little darker blue. And this one is a little to the um, terracotta kind of color, reddish color. And then if I need to do some washes on my babies, like when you're when you painting, sometimes you can paint and your kit will come out too red or it'll come out too blue. You need that color wheel so that you can look on that color wheel and straight across that color wheel and see what color you need to offset that color that's too bright. Okay. So, but if you want to do washes on your kit, you can do washes on your kit. Just like I said, the primary colors are, you can just do red, yellow, red, blue, and yellow, red, blue, and yellow, red, blue, and yellow. Will get to brown. But it's so many layers, so many layers. And I told you, I'm not doing 100 layers on a baby. That is a no-no for me. So I'm just showing you what I use, explaining to you how I use them. And If you want to follow me, it is perfectly all right. If you have a question about something you've seen, something I've done, please leave it in the comment. I'll try my best to answer you in the way I know to answer you. Um, if you need to know where something particular that I have that I bought, I would try to give you the place that I bought it. Um, I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm very transparent. I'm not trying to hide anything from anybody because no two people are alike. Not at all. Not at all. We can take the same colors, we can take the same kit, but yours is going to come out looking different from mine. It's just the way God made that happen like that, you know? He gave everybody an idea. Everybody has a crafting idea within them. He gave it to at least two people because he knew one of them wasn't going to do it. That is just the way he is. But he's remarkable in some of the crafts that I've seen people do when I go to my craft events. It is just remarkable. I love some of this stuff. And I've always been creative, kind of, sort of. When I was a child, we played with paper dolls a lot. And we used to draw our clothes and color them. And then we'd have fashion shows to present our clothes. That was that was so much fun to me. So much fun to me. I have been thinking about making me some paper dolls again. I just have been too busy to make them, but I really would like to do that. Anyway, I just really wanted to get on here and show you some of the stuff that you would need to get. And it's a lot at first, but it lasts a while. And so with the liquid text, I showed you what was in it, and which I'm still using. And I just bought me a new one because I don't want to run out. You don't want to run out. And I bought me a new one. Um, but and I buy it on Amazon. Everything. I'm just an Amazon girl because I have bad hips and bad back, and it's not good for walking on concrete when you go to these department stores. And the floor is concrete. And I go in feeling okay and come out feeling awful. Have to come home, take some medicine, lay down, get myself together after that. So I am an Amazon girl. I buy everything from Amazon so that I can walk out on my porch and get it. I mean, call me what you want to call me, but I just can't help it. I walk out on my porch, pick up my product, bring it back in the house, and use it. Um, so I just wanted to share with you what I have so that you can make up your mind if this is something you want to invest in, because it is an investment to get started. But once you get started, then you can go from there because everything won't run out at the same time. I have gobs of paint. I've been painting dolls since May of this year. I have probably painted mm, probably 15 dolls, if not more. And a lot of my products I've not put a dent in. Yes, I use a lot of ultra matte gel, so I just bought a new one because that is a medium that I can use for different things. So yes, um, I just bought a new one. I've not had to buy any paints. I'm getting low on my wedding agent, so I probably need to buy some of that. And the varnish you're going to use up because you're going to varnish your, I like varnishing 3 times. But if I'm going to seal my paint first, then I'm going to varnish only twice, because that sealant, it helps hold the paint as well. And then the varnish comes on it and holds the paint. It's UV protection, and it also um, is good for keeping the paint on and keep it from chipping. So now I think I've explained everything to you as far as what I use. Um, and I hope you success in your journey. I got God's hand on my hand. So pray about it, and He'll lead you in the right direction. And if it's for you, it'll be for you. And you'll produce some beautiful babies. Like I said, it won't look like mine, but it'll be a beautiful baby. So have a good day. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.